Welcome to LA Scoring Strings 3, reinvented with a host of new features. LA Scoring Strings 3 is based on our renowned classic string library, migrating it seamlessly into our new orchestral engine with lots of new attributes, improved integration, expanded playability, all in an easy-to-use and intuitive interface. Also, LAS 3 now comes with our Legatos Ordino articulations that were previously an optional package. From the delicate tones of a divisi section playing sustains and beautiful legatos, to the sought-after power of its staccatos and spiccatos, from pizzicatos, tremolos, and diatonic trills to beautifully textured harmonics, LA Scoring Strings 3 captures the broad expressive range and diversity of the orchestral string family, while providing the flexibility to create smaller, intimate section sounds. Pristine recordings and meticulous editing will ensure every note of your music will shine. One of LAS's biggest assets is its divisi section sizes. Having 3 divisis per section divided into quarter plus half gives you more control over section size than your typical string libraries. Need an intimate and smaller sound? Choose from one of 3 divises that best suit your needs. Want a medium-sized section? Only layer 2 of the divises. Want the full section? Engage all 3 divises. Of course, you can also layer the first chairs to add that extra chiseled detail to your sections. You have total control. With our newer intelligent auto divisi, you can simply play and our engine will evenly distribute the sections to your core tones, giving you a balanced section sound. Okay, so now let's get into some of LAS 3's articulations and new features to see how they differ from previous versions of LAS. Let's start with the legato articulation. Since its introduction, LAS has been widely renowned for its legato, portamento, and glissando transitions. And in LAS 3, we have improved the legato articulations by adding some smart controls based on playing speed and by giving the user access to more exposed transitions. Notice the transition speed knob here. This gives you real-time control of the legato, portamento, and glissandos, where all the way to the left is the slowest and all the way to the right is the fastest. But the real beauty here is how all of the speed is compensated for with our look-ahead feature, as seen here. No matter what your legato speed, you won't have to do any tedious MIDI editing for it to play back in time. Our look-ahead will take care of it for you. This feature is an important part of our new orchestral engine, so please check out our look-ahead video to learn more. Okay, so back to legato. The patches are shipped with the auto transition speed button on, where it's programmed to be great for most speeds and circumstances. But you can turn it off for manual control of your transitions. Let's listen to it with the auto button on, and in these examples, I'll have auto divisi on as well, and I'll play all 3 divisi sections. Let's start with the violins. Let's listen. Now, let's turn off the auto button and ride the transition speed manually to hear the legato range. First, let's turn it all the way down and play simple transitions. Now, let's turn it all the way up and play the same thing. Slow, fast, slow, fast. Notice how the transitions reacted and sounded different between the 2 settings. Incidentally, for all our legacy LAS owners, when the transition speed is up all the way, you will get the same legato settings as you had in previous versions of LAS. Except now, we've programmed for far more control, and the default settings offer a much wider range, from faster to slower passages. And for the real tweakers, there are expert controls when you click on the transition speed triangle. Check out our other videos for more information on those controls. And lastly, for legatos, we have our AMG, anti-machine gun buttons, that will play adjacent samples when playing the same note repeatedly. Let's listen. And now the same thing with it off. Notice that when it was on, you didn't hear the same transitions being triggered sequentially. Now let's head over to the cellos for the short articulations, the staccatos and the spiccatos. Now much more integrated and easier to use with powerful new features. Of course, you can control spiccato and staccato in real time. And just like older versions of LAS, when you hold down the sustain pedal, you get the auto rhythm tool, affectionately called ART. However, unlike the previous versions of LAS, we now have new ART engines that offer far more advanced features, as well as a shorts ostinato tool. So here's your basic legacy ART type pattern. Then our new rhythm score pattern that automatically triggers staccato and spiccato based on the note values. And then our ostinato tool that plays different types of figures depending on how many notes you hold in a chord. Also notice I can control the duration of the shorts with the tighten knob. When it's all the way to the left, it's long, and when it's all the way to the right, it gets very short. We've set up a bunch of presets for you to experiment with, and we know you'll love ART. There's a whole video that goes into the ART engine in detail. Make sure you check it out. Now, we've also incorporated marcato articulations under the shorts tile. Basically, you can choose between two flavors at all dynamics by selecting either staccato or spiccato. Here's what we would call a staccato marcato. And here's one using the spiccato. These are great for those times when you want extra beef on the attacks of your sustains. And lastly, we've included our slam button, which combines spiccato and staccato to give you added power. Let's listen. Without slam. With slam. Okay, that should do it for the shorts. Now let's move back to the violins for some pizzicatos. Like the shorts, the pizzicatos have a tighten knob to allow you to control the duration. The pizzicatos are multi-dynamic. Let's listen. Okay, now let's move on to tremolo. You'll notice that tremolo has the same controls as the legato sustains tile. So what we discussed with the legato sustains applies to the tremolo, except, of course, that they sound like a tremolo articulation. Let's listen. And of course, you can also play them as legato. And now, let's move on to the trills. Similar to the tremolo and legato sustains, trills have the same control, except we've also added key and tonality controls. Just set your key, and whether it's major or minor, and our engine will trigger the correct interval trills for you. And these are all seeable from the menus. Let's listen. And sometimes you want to use minor or major trills regardless of what key you're in. And in this case, you would either select half tone or whole tone trills. Let's listen. Now let's listen to whole tone trills. And then we have the harmonics, both fingered and natural. There's one control on the right called Custom Envelope. We've already programmed the harmonics to play back in a natural way, but if you want to have more control, you can play with these settings. Let's listen to the harmonics as is. Okay, that should give you a good idea of Last Three's basic features. Of course, there are a lot of new features, some on the ensemble page, as seen here, and others on the mixer page, as seen here. Please refer to those videos for more details on those respective pages. I hope you found this helpful. Thanks for watching, and welcome to Last Three.